Acid reflux is one of those disease conditions that affects
individuals across age groups, from a newborn all the way to someone on their dying bed. But usually it's not something that us as individuals take into consideration unless we're personally impacted by it and we're looking to find a quick solution to remedy the discomfort that it creates at that particular time. Other than that, it's not something that's generally thought of or given much priority. But I would like to stress the importance of the need to be more vigilant about protecting against acid reflux or preventing it from occurring frequently, rather. I know for some individuals, as in the case of my gastroenterologist, when I went to see him for my issues that I was having, he said that he has it, everybody has it, and you'll just have to live with it until the day you die and take medications accordingly to modify or to better control your symptoms throughout the time that you have flare-ups. I didn't particularly agree with his assessment of that, and I continued. That was like 5-6 years ago, and I continue to not support that because I have not necessarily taken standard medications, and I have gotten immense relief from that. I have been pregnant twice since then, and acid reflux is not something that was a part of my pregnancy journey that I needed to remedy throughout the course of that time. And pregnancy is also one of those times too where you tend to have a lot of flare-ups and generally need some assistance to or support or alternatives to help when it comes to reflux. All right, so there are basic things that we as individuals can do on a daily basis to help protect ourselves or to help prevent that from occurring. And I do want to mention as well that acid reflux should be, I like to think of it more as like a caution signal that says, hey, you're doing something in your life that is not consistent with optimizing your health, and so you may need to rethink what you're doing. You may need to reevaluate the steps that you're taking and try something different, because obviously what you're doing is not working for your health. And so this is like a knock knock, wake up, do something else situation. So if those signals are ignored, then generally we end up having bigger problems or acid reflux that lasts way longer than it needs to be, more than 3 months. And then at that point, if it's consistently occurring on a day-to-day basis or frequent enough throughout the week, over the course of 3 months, then you may get in the territory of gastroesophageal reflux disease or GERD. And then if that's not managed, then you can find yourself in some other pickles of situation, from Barrett's esophagus to having ulcers and different things like that, because you just did not take the necessary actions that were needed to remedy the signals that you got initially. So some of the signals that individuals typically get with acid reflux are things like indigestion, heartburn, feelings like someone's stamping on your chest, burping up food, frequently burping up food, frequent burps. If you've had acid reflux, you know what the symptoms are. So generally, those can be more persistent if they're not addressed promptly. And then of course you may have issues sleeping at night, because you may find that when you lay down it feels like things are coming up, and then you may feel like you need to be in a position that's not fully reclined, so more like a seated position, in order to be able to get some decent sleep, or elevate the head of your bed, as is generally recommended. So before you get into those waters and into that territory, there are things that you can do today basis to help with preventing yourself again from getting acid reflux and getting into the territory of needing to take long-term medications for addressing those issues. And these are basic things, basic things, and they may seem basic enough that you may be like, do I really need to pay attention to that, or do I really need to do that? The answer is yes. You really need to pay attention to that, because these basic things are ultimately what's going to help to prevent you from having these lasting repercussions, as we highlighted earlier. So what are some of those basic things that you can do? I'm going to highlight some of them here. Then I'm also going to link a PDF that has those things laid out. You're welcome to get it if you want, or just write down the things that I'm saying right now, whichever works best for you. So some of those basic things that you can do. You've heard this before a million times over, nothing new. Chew your food. Take time to chew your food properly. That's thing number one. Take time to chew your food properly. If you're eating in a hurry, your body more likely is going to be in fight or flight mode, and the priority is not digestion at that point. Not only that, but if you're eating in a hurry, you are not properly masticating or chewing up your food thoroughly enough to activate the different enzymes that are in your mouth to say, hey, food is incoming, and you need to prepare these digestive enzymes to digest these different foods that are coming. So if you're just biting and swallowing, you're bypassing the first mechanism of digestion, which is your mouth. Everything in your mouth aids or helps with digestion. So if you're just biting and swallowing, again, you're not activating that first digestive pathway. So you're missing out on those key enzymes that could be helping to start your digestive process and to get it going. So chew your food thoroughly. It's recommended somewhere between 20 and 30 chews. I know that's a lot. Who does that, right? But that's a general recommendation of how many chewing time each portion of food should get in your mouth before swallowing. So chewing is definitely going to be one of the important things. The other important thing that you can do is hydrating yourself. Hydration is going to be key and optimal if you're having issues with acid reflux, and you may want to consider optimizing how you hydrate yourself, because ultimately that can make a big difference in whether or not you see some improvement when it comes to your food actually getting fully digested. If you drink a lot while you're eating, then you may potentially put yourself at risk for diluting your hydrochloric acid in your stomach, which is needed for your body being able to absorb the different nutrients that are coming in from your food. Remember, food is not just to fill your tummy. It's also to nourish your body, sustain the different pathways that are important for your body to be able to get the different nutrients that it needs to support life. So that's one of the reasons for you eating. It's not just to fill your tummy, okay? So in order for your body to be able to tap into those nutrient sources, you need to digest your food. And if you're diluting your hydrochloric acid, then you won't have enough to break down the food particles properly so that your body can absorb it and give you the nutrients that you need to help sustain everything. Acid. If your body needs a certain amount of hydrochloric acid to digest your food and you dilute that, but then you eat a ton of food, you're left with little to work with in the hydrochloric acid that's necessary for digesting your food. So important that you hydrate before or after your meals and not necessarily chugging a lot of liquids while. So that's thing number 2. So chewing your food properly, having enough hydrochloric acid to break down your food. And one of the other misconception while we're on hydrochloric acid, a lot of time when people start having acid reflux, as the name suggests, one may think you have too much acid in your stomach and that's why you're having acid reflux. But that is contrary to what is most often happening, is that you don't have enough hydrochloric acid, and that is preventing your body from being able to break down the foods that you're eating. So there are different ways that you can optimize hydrochloric acid. One of them is, of course, like I said, hydrate before, after meals, not necessarily during your meals, and then not being stressed while you're eating, not overeating. So take time, again, slow down to eat your food so your body can recognize there's food in your mouth and be able to, activate digestion so you can get the process going. And then stimulate those senses that are important to say, hey, there's food here, digest this food, and let's get this process going. So reducing your stress, not eating excess, not diluting or over diluting hydrochloric acid during eating, getting sufficient sleep, like all these are things that are simpler, seem simple enough, but are important in the process of digestion and taking care of acid reflux to begin with. Yes, when you are in discomfort from acid reflux, the last thing you want to think about is the things that you didn't get right, the things that you didn't do well, and now you just want a quick fix. That's all you want. Give me whatever there is out there to make this feeling go away. That's what I want now to take care of the discomfort that I'm having. But the truth is, if you don't address these simple things, you'll forever have that major discomfort. The other 4 elements I'll get into in another video, but for now, consider these things. Again, PDF is in the link. You're welcome to get that to get ahead of the other 4 items that are listed. Leave your comment. Let me know what your thoughts are. If you've been practicing these, if you've seen a difference, if you've not seen a difference, and if you're willing to make the change that's necessary to give you lasting, sustaining results without the need for long-term medicine. All right.